So Manchester United are back in League Cup action on Tuesday night. It is Crystal Palace coming to Old Trafford. We won the trophy last season. Erik Ten Hag won it with United, our first trophy in 6 years. It was an important competition for us last year. But how important can it be this year, given what is going on with this squad, the injuries, and the fact that Ten Hag really has to rotate in this competition? That's what I'm going to run through in this start 11. Team news, full preview show, my prediction, everything. Drop a like on the video, ladies and gents. United won a game of football at the weekend. It's been a while since that happened. But look, Crystal Palace, they're coming to Old Trafford and they're not in the absolute best of form. They're only 1 point behind us in the Premier League table, but did anybody watch the Palace against Fulham game of the weekend? Oh, that was a tough watch. It was a tough watch. It wasn't a good game of football whatsoever. 0-0 is exactly what you think it was. But let's be honest, Manchester United's performance against Burnley wasn't exactly much better. What I'm going to do in a second, I'm going to run through the starting 11 that we played at the weekend, speak about the problems that we saw, and also the changes that I think will happen. Now, an interesting little side story to this is we might see Dean Henderson make his Crystal Palace debut against Manchester United at Old Trafford. I imagine he probably will, right? You think so? Well, you think Roy Hodgson will give him that opportunity, and hopefully he's so G'd up for the occasion he makes a couple of mistakes. Dean Henderson, I hope you do well at Crystal Palace until you're playing us. As I said, last season was all about, I wouldn't say it was all about the League Cup, but we had the 2 domestic trophies in the Europa League. They felt really important to Ten Hag last season because winning that first trophy, it got that conversation out of the way, and that conversation is out of the way. And last season, we didn't really rotate much. We haven't rotated much this season, but I think this is where it changes. Tomorrow night against Crystal Palace, Erik Ten Hag has to rotate his team, all right? Injuries have been mounting up. We need to rotate this team. And rotation is possible. It's not possible in every position, but there's definitely rotations that could happen against Crystal Palace, right? Let me run through some of them here. And the first one, I think, is quite an obvious one. But I think we should be seeing Bayindr make his debut for Manchester United in goal, right? Your backup goalkeeper, in an ideal situation, you wouldn't really be relying on him much at all across the course of the season. But because Onana is going to the African Cup of Nations, we're going to need Bayindr to prove that he can be, from a stylistic perspective, like for Onana, right? I compare it all the time, but Guardiola, we've got Edison to Ortega last season in the FA Cup final. You wouldn't even have known that there was a switch. It just works seamlessly. Bayindr, if he's going to be playing 6-7 games in a row, if Onana's in the African Cup of Nations, I want him to be getting League Cup opportunities. That's the first change that I would make. Let me go up here and let's get the second change on the go. It's a change to the starting 11. But Varane, I think, will be in to start this game. I don't know whether he'll complete 90 minutes. In fact, I probably would say he won't complete 90 minutes. But he, I believe, should be coming in for Victor Lindelof in that position there. And this might be considered... is it much of a debate? I suppose you can definitely debate about this, but I'm taking Evans out there and I'm putting in Harry Maguire. Right? You know what I think about Harry Maguire and the fact that he shouldn't be a Manchester United player. I've kind of made that abundantly clear. I think everybody knows that by now. But what United now need between now and at the very least January is a player who Erik Ten Hag can look at and look towards and try and rely on, because we haven't got options, man. We've got Martinez, who's out injured. I doubt he'll be risked in this game. Evans starting for Manchester United in 2023. It shouldn't happen. But Maguire and Varane, that's what I'm going for as a centre-back partnership. And I tell you what, it kind of even gets a little bit more confusing when you look at the fullback situation, because right now we've got one fullback who's fit at the club, Diogo Dalot. Sergio Reguilon, he's ill, played against Burnley. He'll get rested for the Palace League game, all right? You've got Wan-Bissaka who's out. You've got Shaw who's out. You've got Malacia who's out. You've got everybody out. So Dalot is the only fit fullback. And I think in this game, Dalot will come in for Reguilon at left back. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I genuinely think this might happen. I think we'll see Sofyan Amrabat's debut, but I don't know whether we're going to see his debut in midfield. I honestly feel that I was looking at all the options that we've got. And honestly, who else do you play at right back or left back? If you played Dalot at right back, then who are you playing at left back? You haven't got what? You could potentially put Lindelof there, but he's just played 90 minutes against Burnley. I don't know. The good thing about Amrabat playing here, right, it's not all doom and gloom. he would still, therefore, be really able to operate in this sort of role and really help Manchester United progress the ball forward. And then if Dalot ended up being the fullback who went forward and Maguire pulled over, Varane pulled over, and Amrabat pulled over into a bit of a back three, which is what United do in possession, then Amrabat can really help in that build-up. But I think from a formation perspective, it really wouldn't surprise me if we see Amrabat coming in and basically doing a job for Erik ten Hag at right back. Because I don't know what else we could do. Who from the under-21s, anybody who's watching the academy closer than me, who from the under-21s could or should we be bringing through? You can let me know. But let's move on to talk about the midfield. I've got Bruno Fernandes up there. The midfield, there will definitely be changes. And one player I do not think will be starting this game is Casemiro. One player who I do not think will be starting this game because he completed 90 minutes is Hannibal. One player I do think will be starting is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is going to be the sort of the pace setter, I suppose. That's Mason Mount. Wrong one. Bruno Fernandes is our captain. Erik ten Hag will trust him to maintain the tempo, and there's going to be a lot of changes in this team. So I think he gets Bruno in there from a safety perspective. I don't know what to call it, but I think he gets Bruno in there because he trusts him. Right, and I think there will also be some other changes in midfield, and I think we'll see Christian Eriksen start this game. And I also actually think you'll see McTominay start this game. Now, McTominay, look, you could potentially put Dan Gore in. I'll be honest, I would not be against that. Because I think Dan Gore's, well, he enjoyed a really good preseason. Hannibal showed it. I'm unsure. I'm completely unsure as to whether McTominay plays, because you could technically put Van der Beek there, but I'm not really going to put Van der Beek there. You could put Gore there. It's a bit of a risk, but with Eriksen and Bruno alongside him, maybe he's got the experience. Maybe this could be an opportunity for Dan Gore. If Dan Gore does start this game, then it's basically goodbye Scott McTominay, right? And I don't think Scott McTominay deserves to start this game, if I'm being totally honest. So I would love to see that. I just don't think it will happen. I think you might see Van der Beek get a chance. Or, hey, look, I'm just going to leave Dan Gore in there and then hope, visualise to realise and all that. Because I think playing in a midfield too with Bruno and Eriksen is enough maturity around Dan Gore that he could probably thrive and enjoy that situation and position. I've just realised this whole time, have I not been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? I haven't had a right winger on the pitch the whole time. Well, let's get the right winger on the pitch that I think will start this game. Because I do think that Pellistri starts this game. And I also think this man starts this game. Garnacho. I think we see both of those come in and start this game for United. And we kind of switch more to the sort of traditional shape that we have been sort of seeing from United. Not saying, will I drop Rashford to the bench? I think I would drop Rashford to the bench. I think I would rest Rashford. And I would rest Højlund. And I would bring Martial in. Garnacho will start this game. The fact that he didn't start or didn't play at the weekend, he'll be completely fit and fresh for this. And Ten Hag will be looking at him going, you're one of the players that I'm going to be looking towards to change this game, to win this game for us. In the same way he's got Bruno there, he'll be looking towards Garnacho too. Pellistri, done nothing but impress. And I have to admit, right, I am, you know full well that I have checked out with Martial. Fully checked out with him. But he really impressed me when he came off the bench the other week away at Bayern Munich. Looked as sharp as I've seen him for a long time. So that team right there, there's a lot of changes. New goalkeeper, new right back, both centre backs changed. The left back's actually changed as well. Changed. Bruno's is still in there. I think Bruno's the only player who actually... Is that 10 changes from me? I think that is... No, 9 changes because Dalot's still starting. So 9 changes I would make from the Burnley game. Now you might say, Sam, hold up, you're crazy. Ain't no way that Ten Hag's going to be making that many changes. And you may well be right. But I'm looking at that team and I'm saying that's a senior centre-back partnership. The full-back situation is, well, Dalot's fine there and he's actually been playing good. And Amrabat, I think, he's going to prove himself that he can be trusted in that role. I think Ten Hag's even actually spoken about the fact that Amrabat can play in the full-back positions. I swear he's mentioned that before. I don't know whether I just made that up. Then a midfield trio of Dan Gore with Eriksen and Bruno. And Gore, it might not be Gore. It could be Van der Beek. It could be McTominay. But I don't think Casemiro starts. And I think because Hannibal played 90 minutes, I think he'll be on the bench. I think Bruno starts. And that front three, Garnacho, Pellistri and Martial, that's a good team. That's a lot of players rested. but also still a much better team, which goes to show you how much our squad, we might be still wafer thin. Mason Mount, he could be starting this game. He could be coming in instead of Dan Gore, for example. And maybe that will be what happens. He can get 30 minutes and then maybe that's exactly what happens. And now that I think about it, it probably is what happens. Right, we go down there. Actually, I haven't got Mason Mount on here because he's been injured. But maybe you see Mason Mount start there instead of Dan Gore, right? Go away, you stupid yellow things. There we go. Maybe that's going to be... maybe that will happen. As I said, it probably will happen now that I've said it. In terms of predictions, that team there... look, Crystal Palace, man, as I said, Crystal Palace have not been playing well. They haven't won a game, I think since the 2nd of September. And now that we've beaten Burnley, that had to be the beginning of a new look United. 4 home games in a row. Back-to-back games against Crystal Palace in the space of, what, 6 days? Starts with this game. Starts with the League Cup. I'm going for a 3-1 win. I'm expecting United to be a bit more dominant, a bit more on the front foot than we were against Burnley. We were defensively resolute against Burnley, and we got the clean sheet, and we got the 3 points. Now we're at home against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. We need to be better. We need to get a bit more control. That's the team I would play. I think now that I've actually thought about it, let me quickly just change Dan Gore for Mason Mount, because I think Mason Mount, if Mason Mount is fit, then Mason Mount comes in and plays here. But, however, if I'm doing that, right, and if I'm saying that Mason Mount starts there, Mason Mount and Bruno playing aggressively with Christian Eriksen holding the space on his own, that wouldn't work. So maybe I'm right. Maybe we'll see Dan Gore get an opportunity. Probably not. We'll see. What's your prediction? Mine's 3-1. I want to build on it, man. Burnley, yeah, good. We beat Burnley, great. But that was necessary. Now, pump Palace tomorrow. Pump Palace on Saturday. Pump Galatasaray. Pump Brentford. 5 wins on a spin. Let's do it.